Hello everybody, welcome to Nick's Demo Podcast number 1. This is just a trial and error thing. What we're going to talk about today is the Las Vegas shooting and how that has impacted the discussion on gun control. So, let's talk about it. For all you liberals out there, we're going to bring you up to speed and show you some things, talk about some things that maybe you aren't really thinking of or aware of. And for all you real right-winger conservative guys, we're going to talk about gun control. No, we're actually not. We're going to leave your Second Amendment completely in place. Now, I don't actually have a copy of it in front of me, but let's talk about the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment says that you have the right to bear arms. Nothing that I am going to discuss today is going to inhibit the right to bear arms. We're not going to inhibit the right to bear any firearms at all. We are not going to change how the firearms function. So we are not inhibiting the Second Amendment. So all you guys who are going to go Second Amendment, you can just stop right now, because I've read the Second Amendment and what we're going to talk about ain't in there. So we know that the Las Vegas shooter had 12 at least what we term assault rifles. The reality is they are semi-automatic rifles, of which there are many, many kinds. And we know that he shot, or at least we think he shot, roughly 500 people, though the government hasn't come out and actually said how many people were shot versus how many people were impacted in other ways. So let's assume he shot 500 people. And he did that with what everybody is calling, automatic weapons or automatic fire. And he was able to put the bump stock on these 12 semi-automatic rifles and effectively convert them into automatic weapons. Now, the real problem here is not that he had bump fire stocks on his automatic or his semi-automatic weapons, making them automatic. And we plan to do a demonstration of this later on in the video. But what we can say is that the semi-automatic weapon, and we're, like I said, going to do a demonstration here, would most likely have accomplished the same goal without the bump stocks. We have tried very hard to research what magazines he had. I have found several. If you go to Wikipedia on this and then you look at what is being said and then look at the reference material there, he had 60 and even 100 round magazines. So with that, we can go ahead and do a demonstration and find out how many rounds we can get off in the time that he allotted or actually fired. Not that he was allotted any fire, but how long he actually fired for. We can assume that he went through at least 12 60-round magazines, which would be 720 shots. If he did 720 shots into the crowd, hitting 500, in a roughly 10 to 11 minute time span, we're going to run a little model and see if you can accomplish the same thing, but in an even more accurate fire scenario with just semi-automatic. The bump stock really actually makes the weapon quite a bit more unmanageable. He had problems getting it to go. He had to do single shots every now and then to get it to bump. So, and it looked like he had erratic fire patterns. Now, they have not released the fire patterns. They have gone through those fields and they have dug up every single bullet out of the grass, and they have looked at where every single victim was located, and they are doing all this forensic research, and it's going to take months and months and months. But ultimately, they will be able to come out with a big map of where every bullet was fired into that crowd. And I think you're going to see that when he fired certain weapons, they strayed up and down and all around. That's not accurate fire, and that's what you get when you are bump stocking it. So the bump stock here, which is what everybody's talking about, and everybody's all up in arms about, we need to ban bump stocks. That's fine, you can ban bump stocks, they're a piece of shit anyway. That is not the issue. That is not how he was able to accomplish what he was able to accomplish. He was able to accomplish what he was able to accomplish because he had semi-automatic rifles with big magazines. It's the magazines that we want to discuss, because that's really what enabled him to do what he did. Now, if you have a 60-round magazine and you're bump firing or just semi-automatic firing, you're going to be able to get 60 rounds off pretty darn quick. Okay? And I understand that magazine changing can be done by professionals very, very quickly. But what we're talking about here is the capacity for death and destruction. There is no reason, no legal reason, why a person would need a 60-round magazine, or for that matter, a 30 or even a 20-round magazine. There is no valid reason legally for that. You can go down to your local gun range and have a great day of shooting with a 10-round magazine. You don't need to sit there and fire 60 shots all in one basically very short period of time in order to do legal and have fun shooting at your local range. Additionally, these weapons, generally speaking, are not used for hunting. And you certainly don't spray 60 rounds from a semi-automatic weapon into an elk that you're trying to bring down. So there is no legal reason to have a 60-round magazine when a 10-round magazine affords you the exact same legal pleasure, does not affect your Second Amendment rights, does not affect the utility of the gun. All it does is limit your capacity to kill other human beings, which is what we're talking about here. This guy was able to kill an awful lot of people. Same with the guy down in Florida. And he's able to do it by walking into a store, passing all the background checks, picking up just whatever size magazines he wants, and then literally going and checking himself into a hotel and blasting 500 people. We've got to make it more difficult. I'm not here being the guy saying, oh, this is going to stop everything. It's not. If you're bent on mass murder, you're going to get in a truck, you're going to get a weapon, you're going to do whatever it takes, you're going to build a bomb, you're going to do whatever you need to do to make that come into effect.